Chapter 13. Also, my voice, I'm sorry if it's thick. I do have a sore throat. I'm trying to work through it. But yeah, just a reminder or a warning. Karma paced his living room, an unnerving frown on his face. He bit his fingernail in hopes of figuring out why his heart had sped up when they'd said that. When they'd said they just wanted to see him, that they had come to his house simply because they'd wanted to see him. Karma's face burned at the fact they'd admitted. He smacked his face and glared at the door. He threw himself back on the gray couch behind him. He rolled his neck and stretched his arms. He had skipped the last few days of school, unable to chance accidentally bumping into them. Rio had come over yesterday, the third day in a row. She was having real trouble trying to calm herself down. Her legs were lagging more and more. It wasn't as if she was incompetent, but if she wanted to flirt with Ituna correctly, she was going to have to do a lot more than talk. He shook his head, annoyed that Ellen had caught him helping Rio flirt. Embarrassed, didn't even begin to describe what he'd felt. He cringed every time he saw them walking over to their table. His mind only made it worse. Their face changed every time. He closed his eyes, hoping to shut out the memory, but it wouldn't disappear. They had saw everything. Karma grabbed a throw pillow and smashed it into his face. He wondered why he was acting like this, wondered why he was acting this way. Never in his life had he felt so shameful. Never in his life had he felt so naked, so out there. He felt stripped. Any word to describe uncovered, that was how he felt. He hated them even more now, more than ever, but gods be damned. Why did he want to talk to them so badly? Wyan, I can call you that, right? You nodded, leaning back on the couch, your legs crisscrossed. Can I ask you a few questions? You wanted to roll your eyes. This was completely unnecessary. However, his last name intrigued you. Only if I can ask you one or two myself. He laughed a little, his black hair faded into gray. His wrinkles were nearing the edge of visible from afar. He had to be around his mid-40s. That's completely fine. What would you like to know? You narrowed your eyes, trying to come up with a conspicuous question. Do you have a son? His smile thinned. I did. You quirked a brow. What do you... Oh, I'm so sorry. You looked away, unable to force down the tears building up in your eyes. It's all right. His smile returned, though it was a bit sad. That was a long time ago. You felt so shameful. You looked down, wiping at your eyes, patting your cheeks a little to calm yourself down. Man, why were you so emotional? As if he could be, I do have a nephew, though. You looked up, heart stopping all over again. The man smiled again, this time more knowingly. He's around your age, I think. Oh? You tried to keep the excitement from your face, tried to keep the thought that this was Akabane's uncle and that you might have an end to whatever complication that was his life. Another thought popped into your head. That cup, the one with the purple and pink diamonds. You could ask about that, but first you had to make sure this was actually Akabane's uncle. You couldn't jump to conclusions without fact-checking them first. Imagine how stupid you would look. Is that all then? No, you blurted a little too fast. Actually, I was wondering. He nodded, indicating he was listening. You fiddled with your fingers, trying to make sure you got it right. Is your nephew's first name? You started slowly. Karma, by any chance? Kazuo lifted a brow. He's a bit of a troublemaker, last I heard, and yeah, that is his name. Again you tried, but this time you lost to the grin that forced its way across your mouth. He's more than that, you say smugly. Do you go to Kuniki-gauka? You looked at him, realizing you had been in your own head. Oh, yeah. Do you, perchance, know my nephew? You looked away, your grin widening, a tint of heat coating your face. Somewhat. Somewhat? Kazuo asked, leaning in. You leaned back, shaking your head at the heat with it. Why were you acting like this? You hated him. That's it. You were just mad. Of course, you've been spending too much time with Akabane. It's been getting to your head. No wonder you've been acting like this. Haha. Your smile was dazed as you thanked whatever being was out there that you'd found an answer and solution all in one. Are you close to him then? He smiled down. Karma never did have many friends. When he was younger, he was close to his cousin though. A sigh, and then, but when the accident happened, he shook his head. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be telling you this. We've only just met, and this is about you. Kazuo smiled, but you frowned. You wanted to know more. What was he going to say? What accident? Was that why Akabane was such a pain in the so? Kazuo tapped his clipboard. First things first. How do you feel today? You cocked your head. Fine? Okay. He scribbled something, then asked, and in the past week, what have you been doing? You cringed, thinking about last Tuesday. I met up with an old friend. And how did you feel? Irritated, you wanted to say, but what came out was confused. Why do you think you were confused? You had no idea. That wasn't what you'd meant to say. Kazuo stared at you, his smile everlasting. It's okay. Take your time. Can we talk about something else? That's fine too. What do you want to talk about? Akabane. You wanted to say, Karma Akabane, but what came out was, why are you here? He looked at you, as if debating whether to answer you or not. Eventually, he gave in. He set his clipboard aside and leaned forward, hands braced against his thighs. Within the past 4 months, how much have you spoken to your parents? You looked up, thinking, usually at dinner, or that was it. You couldn't remember another time when you ever spoke to your parents. You don't think you even said hello when you got home anymore. You felt bad, lowering your hands. I guess not often. Kazuo nodded. And how much social contact have you had? A bit. Your parents are just worried for you. You looked down at your nails. I guess. A minute passed, but it felt like days. Then Kazuo asked, what do you usually do for fun? You looked at him. Fun? I don't know. Let's play a game, he said. A mind game. Okay, you nodded. What do we do? I will ask you a question, and without thinking, you say the first thing that pops into your brain. Sounds fun, you said. Let's do it.